Wake up, become a eeless pterosaur. Can you rule the skies of Africa? You just broke the shell. It has a wingspan of about a meter. The first breath was stuffy and the chest was tight. This hollow skeleton, originally grown for the dense atmosphere of the Cretaceous period. The air is too thin right now. You can't fly by instinct alone. The rubble on the clifftop fell down immediately. Half the nest collapsed directly. You fell on the half-cliff platform. Tungluo's younger brother failed to grasp the rock wall firmly. Straight to the bottom. The white-backed thing at the bottom swarmed up. Not a single scream came. The deer smell the eggshells and surround the rock platform. The beak has pecked at your feet. There is no refund. You spread the winged demon. Jumped out. The wind pours into the winged demon. You rub against the rock wall crooked and slide out more than 10 meters. Hit the gentle slope below. Born in less than 40 seconds. You flew for the first time. He also remembered the group of dark shadows at the bottom of the valley. You are on Earth, one of the fastest growing vertebrates. The first month of life is the outbreak period. It grows to 3 meters. The first half of the month you were still gliding against the rock wall. Catch lizards and locusts to fill your stomach. Equal wingspan over 2 meters. The hare and guinea fowl became the main prey. Even so, it can't keep up with the speed of your body's consumption. You wake up every day looking for something to eat. After eating, practice Mountain Red. It's full of small wounds. Just stabilized for 2 days, you've bumped into an adult eagle. This is the toughest aerial hunter in Africa. An exhibition of more than 2 meters. Sharp claws can crush the skull of an antelope. You two are the same size. He treats you as one of the invaders. Plunge down from the sky. Claws go straight to your torso. You're on a cliff. You can't hide. The left wing took a hard claw. The flesh was torn open with blood. You didn't escape. Take advantage of the rock wall to explore forward. The regulator precisely poked into one of his eyes. The eagle let out a scream, twisted and fell to the bottom. You crouched in the crack and gasped for breath. The wings are shaking with pain. You know very well, it was a narrow victory. Not flying high enough. Not labor-saving enough. Next time you encounter hard stubble. It's you who dies. You're not flapping around like a normal baby bird. Start to rely on the common sense in your head to find a way to live. The walls of the mission were scorched by the sun. Upwelling hot air can drag birds up without flapping their wings. This is the most effortless way to fly. It's your only way out. You climb to the top of the cliff at noon every day. Calculate the wind direction and jump down. Fell a dozen times. Several new wounds were added to the wing membranes. Finally, one time, the airflow holds your body firmly. You go higher and higher with the wind. The canyon at my feet shrank into a slit. All the grasslands in the distance are paved to the end of the sky. You're finally really flying. It's not about flapping your wings. It is the human brain that steps on the rules of the sky. Flying is just the beginning. Filling your stomach is the hardest. 2 years. Your wingspan has broken 6 meters. The hare guinea fowl can't get between its teeth. You start targeting sub-adult antelopes. But hunting at low altitudes is too easy to expose. The impala herd has a special guard. Your shadow just passed. The whole group ran away. You occasionally wonder. Change to Cretaceous. The terrestrial biomass is several times what it is today. The prey is large and dense. Hunting is far more cost-effective than it is now. Not like here. You have to go to great lengths to grab enough. You didn't print it. Another way of thinking. You climb 800 meters in one go, hiding in the backlight of the sun. You have the best eyesight of any land animal. 800 meters in height, can see the wobble of harriers in the grass. Can tell which of the wildebeest runs the slowest. Which one left the order. Calculate the wind speed, gravity, and dive angle. Fold the wings, like a brittle bone spear, straight down. Falling speed skyrocketed to 130 kilometers per hour. The sub-adult antelope just looked up and heard the wind. Your pointed beak has smashed through his spine with precision. 12 seconds in total. By instinct you will starve to death sooner or later. Rely on human brains. You are the true hunter of the sky. After that, you start hunting bigger and bigger. From the sub-adult antelope, to adult wildebeest pups, to the larger zebra larvae, rely on the same set of high-altitude dive tactics. There is no defense on the grassland that you cannot break. A lamp breaks through 7 meters. That day, you drifted down the heat stream back to the cliff of birth. The white-backed vultures are still circling the cliff top, waiting to feed the dead cubs. You don't talk nonsense. I rushed in on the way. Strangers swept by. The two objects were directly smashed to the bone. Fall off a cliff. The regulator sighed. The leader was pierced through the chest on the spot. A few minutes. There's not a single living thing on the cliff top. The account of the long year was cleared, by the way. Also at this stage, you feel it for the first time. The oppressive power of body shape. You land and eat. Just ripped open the belly of the wildebeest. A dozen spotted hyenas surrounded by the smell of blood. But they dare not approach. Just turn around a few dozen meters and watch. You in a healthy state would pierce their skulls with ease. No one wants to take the risk. You pick up the fattest part of your prey. Fly to a nearby rock platform and eat slowly. You know very well, the sky is your vantage point. There is no need for hardware on the ground. It grows to 9 meters. Your feeding range expands deep into the canyon. That's the traditional territory of the eagle. You were hovering over the canyon. The eagle in the empty nest exploded. 7 or 8 adult eagles crowded around the nest and smirked. But no one dared to rush up. They can read the size of your wings. I know that rushing up is to die. You just swept around at a low altitude. Wingtips sweep across the rock wall. The entire herd of minks simply abandoned the nest. Fleeing to the mountains in a panic. Never set foot on the plains again. Not for revenge, it's just that this day will be yours in the future. The real test, never any other bird, is the sky itself. Once you foraged long distances, encountered summer thunderstorm clouds, ebony rain, lightning in the clouds, it's surrounded by turbulence and sinking air. A hard break can directly shoot you into the ground. You don't panic, just rely on common sense. Immediately make a lateral detour upwind of the cloud. The further away from the cloud, the better. Find a stable warm zone. Updraft climbs away. You go around for more than 10 kilometers. The wings are numb by the turbulence. I finally felt a steady stream of heat. Climb steadily with the wind. Out of the storm's reach. After this experience, you have truly grasped the temper of this sky. 5 years, you grow to the end. Wingspan up to 12 meters. Standing on the ground, you can stand shoulder to shoulder with a giraffe. You have become the absolute king of this sky. I see your shadow and go away. Even your leftover prey won't dare to take half a step closer. The eagle hides in the mountains. They are no longer seen over the plains. The herd of antelopes only dares to come out to drink water at dawn and dusk. Daytime sky, it's all your territory. Once you landed and drank water, just in time for the lion hunt. The lioness led by the wildebeest looks up and catches a glimpse of you. Brace your body, alert for a few seconds. Make sure you have no intention of landing and grabbing food. He turned around and continued to direct the hunt. You didn't stay long. After drinking the water, he fluttered away. Did nothing, just live, rewrote the rules of the entire grassland. Real deadlock, forever on the ground, the day you dived and hunted wildebeest. The angle is off. The left wing scraped hard on the bold tail net of the ranch. You hit the ground hard. The wing membranes are strangled with barbed wire. A big hole oozing blood. It's hard to even lift your wings. The smell of blood soon attracted. Dozens of spotted hyenas surround from all sides. They saw you were seriously injured. Courage is instant. Take turns jumping forward. Test you pecked to death 7 or 8. But they don't stop dying. The wound is getting bigger and bigger. It's exhausting. Another half hour. You're going to be torn apart here. Just then, the ground suddenly shook. Again and again. The grass and gravel I stepped on splashed everywhere. The surrounding hounds froze instantly. The one in the front row directly clipped the tail. Even the roar was in his throat. A 13-meter-long Tyrannosaurus Rex walked out of the Golden River illusion. The skull is almost as tall as an adult. The thick scales glowed with a cold light. He's tracking prey by. I never looked at you. Your eyes only scan the pack of hounds at your feet. 2 steps forward. The 2 hounds in front turned and ran. He pokes his neck. I caught 2. Lower jaw gently closed. The muffled sound of broken bones opens. 2 corpses smashed to the ground like rotten meat. It's no different from crushing to bugs. The rest ran away. A few more hid by the bushes and bared their teeth. Dared not rush and refused to leave. There was a growl coming out of his nose. Not a shrill scream. It's a low-frequency muffled sound coming from the chest cavity. Swipe it against the ground. The grass is shaking. Even your wing membranes are slightly numb. The hounds collapsed in an instant, fleeing like crazy with his tail between his legs. In the blink of an eye, there was no trace. The world went quiet, only the sound of the wind blowing through the leaves of grass. He walks up to you, the huge head lowered. There is no hostility in the amber eyes. There is a faint sense of familiarity. His nose gently touched your tangled wing membranes. I didn't peck it open for you. Didn't stop much. 2 seconds later, he looks away. Turn around and continue to go deeper in the direction of the water source. Deep footprints embedded in the soil. You stare at his back. A few fragmented images flash through my mind. Acacia thorn, the moisture of the cave and the soft fluff in its claws. The wind blows and it all dissipates. Wait until he disappears completely into the woods. You just use your beak to tear apart the deformed fence little by little. Enduring the pain and fly back to the rock wall nest. Tranquility didn't last long. Your presence alerted the local conservation department. A light helicopter, broken with the anesthetist, circling around you, to remove you from the human activity zone. You know the power of hot weapons. Not hard to touch by the strongest heat flow at noon. You climb vertically thousands of meters into the air. Helicopter's practical ceiling can't catch up with you. The tranquilizer gun can't even aim at this distance. You can only circle below. You're not hiding. Instead, he swooped directly above the helicopter, passing through the low altitude again and again with the advantage of height. The airflow from the wingtips caused the fuselage to shake violently. The pilot couldn't aim steadily at all. After a few rounds of testing, the crew knew, unable to complete the eviction and anesthesia tasks. You can only turn around and return. Request reinforcements. You won the game, but you also know, and this is just the beginning. Humanity will not give up. Next time, it will only be more powerful equipment. You didn't stay long. That day, he flapped his wings and plunged into the depths of the clouds. Fly to more remote no man's land. You're too tired. The familiar sense of sleepiness came up like a cloud. You took one last look at the boundless earth beneath your feet. He will never know. Once upon a time there was a Cretaceous king of the sky. Fly freely here, and you close your eyes. Open your eyes again, the wind is gone. The smell of dust has dissipated. You want to lift your wings? Stretching out are thick front legs full of muscles. A mouth with 3-inch sword teeth glows coldly. Push the paw into the soil. The energy all over exploded. A rebirth is already waiting for you. Are you ready? If you woke up and became a Tyrannosaurus Rex, can you rule the African savanna? You just broke the shell. The fluff is still stained with egg liquid. First came the stuffy, panicked heat. The air is dry and hot. It hurts to inhale into the lungs. You can't stop coughing. Eye and nose acid. Something is missing in the air. You want to use the front support, but those short arms don't work at all. Pull twice and fall harder. He looked down and he was covered with a layer of fine velvet rain. Your heart skipped a beat. From him to the dragon. I haven't waited for you to figure it out. A slender shadow came over. The black-backed fox came over looking for the smell of eggshells. Pick on newborn pups. You roll and crawl down the hill to escape. It opens its mouth and bites. Make a bloody cut in your hind leg. You try your best to get into the acacia thorns. Sharp scraped scales hurt. Jackal can't get in. Walk around twice and leave angrily. Just breathe a sigh of relief. There was a burning pain at the tip of the tail. Army ants crawl their tails along the stalks of grass. The stinging toxin burns the skin and numbs. You gritted your teeth and moved into the mud puddle next to you. Soak the tail in the mud, smothering ant colony. He slumped back to the ground, gasping for breath. The road is not stable on the first day. You got stabbed 3 times first. The scabs on the hind legs are off and long. The fine velvet on the body has been replaced with a layer. You can already wobble away, just over a meter long. You try to hunt, but the hare antelope is too fast. 10 to 9, often hungry eyes turn black, just in time for the local small dry season. Kill the water frogs one by one. Be careful with all the prey. You can't even find carrion. You rely on the common sense in your head to carry it hard. Dig down the roots of the plants. It can extract wet soil to quench thirst. With a sense of smell that can be smelt from miles away. Find the remains of other predators. Bite bones and suck marrow. The strong stomach acid in the body is enough to withstand the germs in the carrion. It's a survival card written in the genes. Just gnawing on bones and drinking mud. When the water boils and the first rain falls. You stand in the rain. The bones all over my body are swelling. Look down. The claws are already thicker than when they first broke the shell. No, you frown. Utahraptor was 6 meters tall. Just lived. In the dry season, you are almost 1.5 meters. More game after the rainy season. You grow to 1.5 meters. I gained a lot of strength. But trouble also found the door. 6 spotted hyenas coming in from Sandbin. They've been staring at you for a day or two. You panic. Head into the hole in the slope. The tunnel squiggles. Hounds can't get in. You can only pull the soil at the entrance of the cave and roar. You just breathed a sigh of relief. I heard small movements coming from the bottom of the cave. A palm-sized honey badger cub was huddled there. Just opened my eyes, shaking timidly. This is a jade glaze hole. She's out feeding. You wince back. It only took 10 seconds without touching it. The light at the entrance is dimmed. An adult female honey badger with a fat baby mouse came back from outside. He saw the hound blocking the hole at a glance. I glanced back at you and the cub in the hole. Without the slightest hesitation. He drops his prey. Back hair stands up instantly. Like a bursting needle. The next second, he rushed directly towards the hounds. You lie in the depths of the hole. The claws clung to the soil. I saw the whole thing clearly. Pick the lead hound to death. A mouthful was torn on the opponent's nose. Rip off a piece of belt meat. The hound screamed in pain and retreated. The remaining 5 are immediately surrounded. Some bite their legs. Lock demon, and he rolled, screaming. The short and thick body erupted with disproportionate ferocity. But the size difference is too big. Your blood is gushing over your head. You want to rush out. I want to help his brain shout out. The body is nailed in place. You know, I will also give you this pair of 1.5 meters body when I go out. You can't beat an adult hunting dog single-handedly. Hole narrowing, even complete hair. Can't do it. You just watch it get weaker and weaker. Watch it end up in a pool of blood. Never moved again. The hound stood guard at the entrance of the cave. Finally dragged away with his body in his mouth. Little cub in the hole. Don't know what happened yet. Stumbled and rubbed against your paws. Treat you as a support. You took him to a more secluded cave. You hunted back. Will tear off the softest minced meat. Push it in front of him. You lick your wounds on your stomach. It sleeps curled up in your paws. It's going to bring a beetle up to your mouth. When you were in a daze, rub your scales with your little head. You lie still most of the time. Let it live for so long. You don't feel so lonely for the first time. You even start to think, wait until you grow up. I can protect it. But this thought only lasted for 3 days. That day you chased for a long time before catching a hare. When going back to the hole, the little guy is lying on the edge of the grass at the entrance of the hole. The body is already hard. It's ancient rotten silk sunflower. The most common poison in the African grasslands. Vipers like to hide in the grass and ambush. One bite of venom can bring down an adult antelope. It's probably curious. Sneak out of the hole. Lean in. The corpse is cold. You put the hair next to it. Turned away, and you add that to the spotted hyena. Even changed around. You grow to 2 meters. The teeth in the jaw are thicker. The bite force is not the level before. This time you didn't hide. You follow the scent of the hound. Find their territory all the way. They're fighting over the remains of a freshly caught wildebeest. On the leading nose, the fresh scar that was torn open. Extremely eye-catching. On the dirt slope behind the shrubs in the distance. There are lionesses, staring at the prey here. Waiting to reap the benefits. That string in your head snapped in an instant. Didn't you wait? Hide and lower your body. At full speed, the lead hound hears movement. It's too late to look up. You pounce on it. I bit through its back. The moment of jaw force. The body instinctively swings the neck violently. It's a death swing written in the genes. The muffled sound of broken bones, mixed with the sound of flesh tearing, it exploded. It didn't even scream. Half of his body was directly torn apart. hit the ground hard. The remaining 5 were stunned for a second. Then he came up with his teeth bared. But he didn't dare to die immediately. They had never seen such a reckless prey. Your back and legs are still torn open. The blood trickled down the scales. You don't care, just staring at the one that bit off the waist of the mother flower. Chasing after him, another head shake, ripped off his hind legs. The pride never moved. They watched coldly from the dirt slope. Look at this monster that has suddenly become deadly. Assess your strength. The hounds who lost 2 main forces in a row were finally timid. They're carrying their wounded companion. Retreat with tail between my legs. Not even the remains of the wildebeest. You are standing in a pool of blood. All over, gasping for breath. You got revenge, but you're not happy at all. You won 2 hounds, but you can't even protect something that small. Wait until this injury completely heals. The old scales on the body are falling off one after another. The new scales are thicker and harder. You stand by the water and look at the reflection. The body length has jumped to 2.5 meters. The muscles in the forehead are as hard as stone. You know very well, you are not strong enough, far from enough. The scales on his body have been changed again. You grow to 4 meters. Step down, the ground has trembled slightly. You go to the river more and more often to drink. Ambush prey crossing the river. You just put your mouth above the water that day. A black shadow suddenly exploded under the water. A 4-meter-long Nile crocodile, bite your front leg in one bite. To drag you into deep water to play death roll. Water is its home ground. Once involved, must die. There's only one thought in your head that can't be dragged away. You hit the shore rock with your hind legs. Pull back as hard as you can. Crocodiles are strong in water, but the endurance on shore is less than half of yours. You dragged it out of the water. It just relaxed and wanted to escape. You bow down and bite on its harness. Snap, rampage river, half a lifetime of hard armor cracked like brittle bones. Snow splashed your face. The crocodile collapsed on the shore and never moved again. You stared at your mouth for a long time. What kind of dinosaur can crush the carapace of an adult Nile crocodile in one bite? The list of dinosaurs in your head. An answer is coming, but you can't believe it. Wait until the leg injury is completely healed. Dragon feather is almost clean, covered with thick, horny scales. You grow to 7 meters. Step down, the ground is shaking slightly. You've made sure you're not some small predator. But you never dared to say that name. Until the 8 lionesses who watched coldly on the dirt slope finally found the door. They rely on flexibility. Take turns to pounce, bite your back and legs, hit and run. It's clear that it will consume you to death. The back was slashed several times by the claws. The smell of blood wafts out in the wind. The pride is getting more and more excited. Run to the 5th round. The lead lioness leaps high. Straight to the back of your neck. This is the cat's way of hunting big prey. The instant its teeth touch your scales, you jerk your neck sideways. Precision grabbed its waist. You didn't shake hard, didn't bite, just slowly close your chin. First the muffled sound of muscles being crushed. And then the crackle of a broken spine. In the end he went soft, slide from your mouth to the ground. Quiet all around. The remaining lions froze in place. Eyes from fierce, turned into fear. Seconds later, they run, tails between their legs. Not even the territory. You stand still, the taste of warm blood still lingers in his mouth. A name finally popped into my head. Your eardrums are buzzing. Tyrannosaurus Rex, king of the Cretaceous land. The bite force can reach 6 tons. The most powerful terrestrial predator in Earth's history. All the beatings, wronged, hidden doubts for so long, completely exploded at this moment. You are not prey to be slaughtered. You are a natural apex predator. From today onwards, this grassland, it's your turn to have the final say. From this day forward, you grow like you're unchained. Wait until the scar on your back is completely healed. The last layer of fine scales has also been replaced. You grow to the end, 12 meters long and 9 tons. A skull, taller than the Japanese. You go to the only core water source on the grasslands. The male hippopotamus who was guarding there rushed over first. The ground trembled when the 3-ton body hit. You move sideways, accurate impact. Bite his ribs in one bite. Thick skin under your teeth. No different from tissue paper. Your neck muscles are slamming. Swing in place. The head is another death swing. Click. His entire chest was literally ripped apart. The huge body fell to the ground. He didn't even hum a second time. Just solved the hippo. The underwater Nile crocodile takes the opportunity to sneak up on your hind legs. You already counted. Take a step back. Step on its back. Head down and grab its skull. Slight force. The water is red. Finish this fight. Hunters for miles around know the rules. Hounds are hiding a few kilometers away. The rest of the pride moved out overnight. The hippopotamuses are afraid to approach this water source again. When you pass by, the herd of elephants will lead the baby elephants to change their route silently. Even male elephants will no longer actively chase you away. Once you walk down a grassy slope, a cheetah fresh off an antelope looks up and bumps into you. Stunned for 2 seconds. Drop the prey now. Retreat with your tail between your legs. You didn't touch his prey. Went straight over. You hunt with reason. Direct fetch required. Will not kill for no reason. You remember the location of each water source. Remember the migration routes of each herd. You are better than any native predator. They all know the rules of this grassland. You are now the king of this grassland. But you were the land overlord of the Cretaceous period. Now it's just a giant beast in the wrong era. With brute force, and modern memories engraved in the brain. Survived in a strange land, except for humans. No more heaven and earth. Sunrise, sunset, the wind sweeps the scales. Warm. You still think of that cave once in a while. Think of the tiny ball in the crack of the paw. Those 3 days are short, enough to let you know. It turns out that the taste of not being alone is like this. You're too tired, familiar sleepy imagery. A Hoffmanosaurus, suddenly descending on modern-day Monterey Bay. It can kill the entire food chain. Restore dominance of this sea? Now, the edge of a dark submarine canyon in Monterey Bay. The density of the seawater suddenly and violently twists. Head, Hoffmanosaurus, which should have gone extinct 66 million years ago. It came but, crossing the modern ocean, just a newborn cub with a length of 2.8 meters. The first level of newborn. It is to complete the first ventilation in unfamiliar waters. As a marine reptile that breathes with its lungs. Instinct drove him desperately upstream. Must break through the water in minutes. Otherwise, the tender lungs will completely fail due to lack of oxygen. He finally broke through the water, breathed for the first breath of modern air. But everything is wrong. Atmospheric oxygen is much lower than genetic memory. The cold water ate away at his meager metabolic heat. Surrounding breath, completely misaligned with the Cretaceous genetic memory. He can't tolerate the confusion of time and space disorder. Only one thought left, hungry. No more high-energy flesh, he will be consumed alive by this sea. The kelp forest is full of fish he has never seen before. Consecutive raids, all due to miscalculation of prey flexibility. The stomach acid is already burning his internal organs. 6th hour of birth, he sinks to the bottom of the kelp forest. Sediment ambush, swing with a thick tail handle and sprint with full force. With backward curved cone-sharp teeth, locked up a giant 15-kilogram salmon, swallowed a mouthful of warm blood. He learned the first rule of the sea: to kill. To survive, but the smell of blood has attracted the living hell of this sea. 5 adult passing killer whales with a body length of 7-9 meters. The siege was completed silently. On the right eye spot of the leading female killer whale, there is a hideous cross-shaped torn old scar. He's one of the most famous hunters in the bay. In their eyes, this cub is less than 3 meters. It's just a moving packet of energy. With the lead killer whale's attack command, 2 young males accelerate in an instant. Smash its flanks. The air here is almost completely squeezed out. The other end precisely bit his only power core. Severe pain in the caudal stalk. He twisted his body like crazy, dragging the bloodline, dive into the narrow wind crevices of the submarine canyon. Stuck in the rock wall, keep your heart rate to a minimum. Enter near-death dormancy, even if the lungs are deprived of oxygen and torn and the vision is black. He would never move until the waters of the killer whales shake. The low-frequency communication sound is completely dissipated. Dare to stick your head out. Complete a nearly asphyxiated ventilation. This fiasco taught him the cruelest iron law. Here is a terrifying force that can easily crush him. During the 6 months I lived in the rock crevices, he's working off of a very low metabolic cost. Dormant in the sand, waiting for the passing mangman. Dainty crab delivered to the door. Chewed raw with shell and meat. The extreme lack of food. Let his bones grow slowly in hunger. Every fight, healing wounds make the dermal scales stronger. Form a dark black toughness armor that covers the whole body. When it grows to 3.5 meters, he finally dared to slip out of the crack to test. Into the edge of the kelp forest, head-on collision with a 2-meter-long Pacific porpoise shark. The porpoise shark stared at this strange predator. He's coming through with his teeth. The tyrannical genes of the Cretaceous Reaper ignited in an instant. He doesn't dodge recoil, avoid a frontal bite with a flexible neck twist. Bite the thoracic fin of the porpoise shark. A tooth instantly locks the flesh and blood. A crazy death roll. It ripped apart the thoracic fins of the porpoise shark. 5 killers flee with injuries. Kenglong, who swallowed a mouthful full of shark meat, understood for the first time. As long as they are the same size, his bloodline is invincible. When it grows to 4 meters, he paid the price for his arrogance. He rashly, 5 bottlenose dolphins team up to launch a surprise attack. In an instant, he was besieged by 3 dolphins working together. The opponent relies on extreme speed. Hit his soft underbelly from the blind spot of vision. There was a clear crack in the ribs. He never touches agile dolphins. I can only do my best to dive to the deep sea. Run hundreds of meters before barely escaping. A near-death lesson. He learned the second iron law. Never provoke hordes of prey. He was under terrifying water pressure. Dive to the kilometer-deep murky waters of Monterey Canyon. Eyeing a giant squid, he rose from the shadows and stormed. Bite the thick tentacles of the squid. The squid instantly wrapped around his head. Sucker serrated his skin. The thick black ink covered his eyes. Oxygen is running out fast. He won't let go. Sharp teeth crazy cutting. Bite off the core of the squid tentacle. Until the prey stops completely. Highly nutritious soft fat. Let his body ushered in an explosive surge. When it grows to 7 meters, the dragon made a crazy decision. Hunting humpback whale cubs. The female is led away by sea lions for tens of meters. Less than 20 seconds left, he rose from the abyss, biting the cub's throat. Instantly tear the carotid artery. After 10 seconds, the tail fin of the furious female whale sweeps. Just fly him a few meters away. Rib pain, but the mother watches over the dead cub. After a long time of mourning, he finally left. He was nibbling on whale meat. At a heavy cost, completely stand firm, the location of the top predators in this area. When it grows to 10 meters, he became an absolute nightmare for the great white shark. He clung to the canyon wall against the light. Extreme ground movement. It completely disabled the lateral line system of vision of the great white shark. Wait for Lorentz, when Khufu captured the bioelectric field so close at hand. The mouth of the abyss has blocked all escape routes. Terrible bite. One bite to stop the waste, truncated a 4-meter-long adult great white shark. He at this moment, already standing, top of the modern marine food chain, except for the group of killer whales. Invincible, and by the 10th year, he had completed his final metamorphosis. 15 meters long, weight 22 tons, body, white scratches from a decade of trial and error. Strong skin like dark black heavy armor. Indestructible, he became the only complete being in the ocean. Hoffman Saurosaurus. This morning, familiar sharp low-frequency whistles penetrate deep water. It went straight into his auditory nerve. Or the 5 killer whales. The old cross scar on the eye spot of the leader killer whale is still hideous. Enemy meets. Kanglong is like a black heavy torpedo, rushing to the top from the kilometer abyss. With the sharp alarm of the lead killer whale, the formation of the killer whales dispersed in an instant. Perfectly dodged his lethal ascent. But Kanglong relies on its extremely flexible spine. A massive body 15 meters long, completed a violent sharp turn in the sea. Mouth of the abyss, biting the last killer whale left alone. A lethal ruler on the inside of the palate. Instantly pierced deep into the muscle. Embedded in the spine, a death without a dead end. With a harsh bone crack, 6-ton killer whale doesn't even scream. The chest was shredded, hundreds of pieces of flesh exploded in the sea. One blood is born, the tragic death of a companion. Let the killer whale group completely switch the hunting mode. The remaining 4 killer whales, under the command of the leader, low-frequency communication acoustic interweaving network. No longer rigid, it turns into 4 precise underwater scalpels. 2 killer whales take advantage of absolute speed. One left and one right, extremely ruthlessly cut into the blind spot of Kanglong's vision. Sharp conical teeth slammed into his flanks. With violent tearing, forcibly ripped off large pieces of skin with dermal scales. Kanglong waved its huge body furiously. Sharp teeth collide with the sea, hit but never touch the killer whale that retreats with one hit. These highly intelligent killers know how to hunt well. They are not greedy for bites. Every raid hits the tail handle of his flag with precision. These power cores are like wolves. Extremely tacit madness consumed his physical strength. High-intensity anaerobic meets. Let Kanglong, who must breathe with his lungs. Massive accumulation of lactic acid in the body. The muscles start to ache and spasm uncontrollably. He has to come up for air, when the Kanglong desperately rush to the sea. The killer whale's most unsolvable move has arrived. 2 killer whales with their furious speed hit his broken ribs hard from the side, forcibly interrupted his ascending route. The other 2 went crazy and bit his pectoral fins and tailstock. Drag him to the deep sea with a terrifying bite. Highly intelligent hunters cooperate tacitly to take this 22-ton ancient behemoth. Drowned alive in the deep sea where he was supposed to reign. Lungs are completely shriveled, the pain of suffocation swept through the body. At the last moment when consciousness is about to go black, Kanglong drained the last bit of potential in his body. Abandoned all defense, let it be bitten through later. The slender body is extremely twisted in the water. Force suddenly turns back. That row of terrifying rulers, extremely accurate, locked the throat of the lead killer whale. Stop struggling, floating dragon put away all flags. With the will to die, locked in the throat, struggling killer whale leader, towards the pitch-black seabed at a depth of 3 kilometers in Monterey Canyon. Rapid fall, the high pressure of the deep sea ruthlessly crushes the ribs of the killer whale. The cracking sound of dental acid. The last string of weak bubbles overflowed from Kanglong's snout. With his old enemy, completely disappeared into the abyss of eternal night. The sea has finally subsided. Only a thick mist of blood remains. The 3 surviving killer whales gasped in horror. Covered with lacerations, group of killer whales tactically strangled the entire ancient overlord. But it cost the leader and his companions the painful price of no bones left. There is no real winner in this bloodbath. And that Hoffmanosaurus, in the most tragic way, defended the white crocodile sacrifice to the god of death. The last dignity that would rather not be bent. Above sea level, one is in the Pacific Ocean. Cruising nuclear-powered aircraft carrier. In the radar control room, the operator is staring at the sonar screen. The powerful echo representing the giant unknown creature. The signal plummets towards the canyon abyss. Finally completely extinguished. But the alarm was not lifted. The blaring red light at the highest level resounded through the hall again. This time, radar locked coordinates halfway around the world. Located in South America, deep in the sultry, humid Amazon rainforest. Scan the grid, a murky swamp shrouded in tropical miasma. An extremely violent distortion of spacetime occurred. In muddy water, a hideously thick unknown cold-blooded silhouette. With a suffocating sense of oppression. Silently across the huge root system of dogfish velvet. The ultimate nightmare of terrestrial ecology has awakened. A megalodon suddenly descended on the modern-day Caribbean Sea. It can kill the entire food chain. Restore dominance of this sea? At this moment in the deep waters of the Caribbean Sea. An undetected local space-time disorder happens quietly, accompanied by the intense optical distortions of the seawater. One that disappeared for 3.5 million years. The ultimate prehistoric nightmare. Out of thin air, this is just like being overwhelmed by high-dimensional forces. Forcibly stuffed into the modern ocean. When it came down, its body length reached an astonishing 2 meters. Weighs a full 75 kilograms. Benefit from the Caribbean Sea. The warm water temperature is maintained above 26 degrees all year round. This warm animal did not experience a fatal food temperature crisis. His muscle function comes out. You're at your peak. Fatal test comes from a extreme hunger that almost tore him apart from within. Hungry, his metabolism, it's for the ancient one that is everywhere. The age of abundance for fat, slow, small whales. Tailored, put it in modern times, the energy consumption rate of this ancient killing engine. It's hopelessly fast. He just arrived, he was hungry and crazy. The first meal was at the edge of a cliff in the deep sea. Sneak attacked a large 25 kilograms grouper. A mouthful of sharp teeth instantly tore the fish. But only half an hour passed. Hunger strikes again like a tsunami, to fill this bottomless hole of energy. In the next 72 hours, he transformed into a tireless primary meat grinder. He blindly attacks every living thing in sight, from dull primer flounder to hard-shelled turtle, even the jellyfish that go with the flow. But these low-calorie modern odds and ends, it couldn't satisfy his ancient appetite at all. The high frequency of ineffective hunting not only did not satisfy him, instead, it consumed a lot of his strength. Just as he was hungry and tired, he hit rock bottom. The third day of, he suffered, to the first darkest hour of modern society. Taiwan travel, here comes a swarm of large black and white mammals. In the age when Megalodon dominated the earth, killer whales haven't been born yet. He doesn't even know the favorite snack of modern killer whales. It's a baby shark, that huge liver rich in extremely high fat. A 7-meter-long adult killer whale has been separated from its population. Slowly swimming towards him, there were a few high-frequency sonar clicks. Instantly saw through the details of this prehistoric orphan. This moment of ancient absolute force taught a lesson in modern wisdom. Modern ocean, alone, a 2-meter megalodon, in front of a highly coordinated group of killer whales. Just a plate of high-calorie takeout delivered to your door. Facing the hunting and playing of the killer whale group, he was beaten so powerless to fight back. Several bloodstains were torn open on the flank. Extreme panic let him desperately return it full of complexity. The murky shoals of the intricate coral reef. Stick to it. Putin is too big. Dislike reefs can easily scratch the skin. Hovering on the edge for a while, then turned away. The prehistoric behemoth huddled in the gap gasped for breath. It was his first life and death lesson. In this era, not big enough to die. The following years, it was a long and bloody, and unscrupulous tolerance and development. He no longer sprints blindly, they learn to lie dormant in the crevices of the dark reef. Granted by ancient genes, the terrifying speed of growing 1 meter every year. He began his gradual encroachment on the modern ecological niche. And at 7 meters in his 5th year, he gave up fish. Started ambushing manatees and seals. In the 8th year he broke the 10-meter mark, slipping out of the bay into open water. And it's here, he encountered the signature killer of the modern ocean. A 5-meter-long, adult great white shark, the whole process of the meeting of the 2 generations of ocean overlords. It lasted just 8 seconds. The electric field sensing organ of the great white shark. After catching this 10-meter behemoth, after the terrifying bioelectrical signal is emitted, the air defense alarm that has evolved over thousands of years sounds in an instant. Great white sharks don't even have the courage to test. He turned his head and tucked his tail and fled madly into the deep sea. This encounter revealed a cruel truth. The great white shark has the status it has today. All because the megalodon went extinct. Now the master is back. In his 12th year, he grew to 14 meters. It has been able to bite off the lone pilot whale in one bite. In these 10 years of forbearance, he has more and more scars, but that tyrannical prehistoric killing intent finally can't suppress it. When he reached the age of 15, ancient genes bloomed completely. He finally grew to a body length of 18 meters. The peak weighing up to 70 tons is complete. Shoal can no longer hide this huge black deep sea reaper. He dragged his body like a hill. Swagger, cruising on the sun-filled ocean main waterway. He lurked at the bottom of the sea. Vertical upward burst. Mouthful of 276 chainsaw-edged teeth. To 180,000 newtons terrifying bite from the belly of an adult humpback whale. Tear off hundreds of caddies of flesh and blood. But just as he was feasting, huge black dorsal fin cuts through the sea. Surround him, the 5 heads are all more than 8 meters long. Adult great killer whales weighing up to 6 tons. The killer family that bullied him. Looking for the smell of blood. This is by no means an easy food abuse bureau. This is a fateful bloodbath between old and new overlords. Enemy meets, the rage in the genes of the prehistoric god of war detonated in an instant. Charge first, but these 5 modern Poseidons, with its extremely flexible swimming and sonar cracking, spread out in an instant. Like 5 fronts, Lee's scalpel went wild in his blind spot. A killer whale grazes his side by current inertia. Mouthful of conical teeth, biting his huge left pectoral fin. Tore off a chunk of flesh. Megalodon gives a furious air bite. But a 70-ton body is too inflexible. Immediately after, the other 2 killer whales burst in from the rear corner. Bite his unsuspecting tail handle hard. Blood gushed out in an instant. dyed the deep sea red, just a few minutes. The lateral ribs, abdomen, and gill fissures of this ancient general, already covered with horrific wounds that can be seen deep into the bone. He gasped for breath. The left breast is almost mutilated. It looks like he, once again caught in the dead end that was played many years ago. The killer whales underestimated the 70 tons of prehistoric flesh that truly belongs to the ancient barbarity and tyranny. The pain ignited his ultimate instinct. As the leader of the largest killer whale, when attempting to hit, flip, and sprint again, he didn't do any awkward turns to avoid. But a huge body of 70 tons, hovering like an anchor in the sea, turned into an unshakable black abyss the moment the killer whale charged into the attack range. The mouth of the blood basin with a width of 3.2 meters popped open with a bang. 180,000 newtons hydraulic guillotine, biting the spine of the lead killer whale. Immediately after, Megalodon has a neck that defies physics. Muscles skyrocket. He's carrying 70 tons of absolute mass. They were throwing their heads around in a frenzy in the water, accompanied by extremely dull and harsh explosions of bone fractures. 6 tons of modern top killers was sawed in two in his mouth. The bloody death of the leader whale let the remaining 4 heads appear with a deadly card. Just half a second, the Megalodon is like a 70-ton meteorite that has gone berserk. Huge cartilage kiss. It smashed into the chest of a killer whale on the right. Pure physical mass. A devastating impact erupted in an instant. Bang! A muffled sound. The killer whale's ribs were shattered in an instant. The internal organs are crushed into mud under intense pressure. Killed on the spot, but the Megalodon's head is also being reacted to. Knocked out a deep crack. A lot of blood spilled from the tail. Clear the line of defense. The 3 remaining heads that collapsed turn around and run away. Megalodon drags blood. Becky and Wiping, who are already in ruins, burst out at the ultimate speed of tearing muscles, biting the tail of the 3rd killer whale, drag it into the deep sea and crush it. In the final melee, he had to take it hard. The dying battle of the last killer whales. His right cheek was badly torn apart. Hunks of flesh rolled. They even showed some white cartilage. And in the end, he ended up killing both sides. One bite shattered the chest cavity of the 4th head. Then he drained the last trace of explosive power in his body. From directly below, like the shadow of death, sweep up the abyss. The huge mouth closed with a bang. The back of the last killer whale. With the cry of despair, it was completely bitten off. The sea has returned to its dead silence. Only the dark red snow fog and floating corpses. Silently speaking, the tragic epic just now. Confrontation. The Megalodon struggled to hover in the middle of the snow and fog. His 18-meter-long body was already scarred. Incomplete left pectoral fin. Right branchial fissure. Lots of blood like a fountain. From countless teeth and cracks. His physical strength has long been severely exhausted. Every breath requires tremendous force. He used the most unreasonable and tragic way. Forcefully put the smartest in this era. The most powerful marine killer foot. Massacre. He dragged this extremely oppressive but full of. The body of the metals fiasco swung violently. The caudal fin rolls up a violent blood-colored undercurrent to a deeper and darker abyss. From this moment on, in this ocean, he no longer has any biological predators. This one has crossed 3.5 million years of deep-sea tyrants. In strange times, to board the plane again on the wreckage of the ground. But what he didn't know was, just away from this sea of blood, less than 50 nautical miles above the water, the main control room of a human heavy destroyer. The blaring red alarm suddenly broke the silence. In front of the screen, the sonar operator's eyes widened in disbelief, staring at the radar. On that dark scan of the abyss, a huge one that goes against modern biological common sense. Giant scarlet dot, with a suffocating sense of oppression, slowly swimming into the human field of vision.